Hello and welcome to True Crime Diary, a light-hearted podcast on a serious subject. Every 2 weeks we look back through true crime stories to discuss an event that took place on this week in history. I'm your host Mark Decana, and with me as always are my friends Jed Lester.
Hello.
And Rue Turner.
Hello.
This is the Halloween special.
Eerie. Really eerie.
I have two tales for you, similar in detail.
Yep.
But parted by many decades and the Atlantic Ocean. One tale from Britain and one tale from the United States.
What's the connection? That they're similar.
There was bloody murder committed.
Oh, yeah.
And the ghosts of the victim revealed their killer.
Really?
Did they now?
Or maybe they didn't.
My starting position is that they didn't. But carry on.
But we're open-minded.
We're open-minded, didn't it?
For the purposes of this recording,
I'm always open to actual facts.
the purposes of
fact
this,
is there's no such thing as ghosts.
let's carry on and not waste.
Or is there?
My God, that was the curtain rail, everyone. The curtain rail fell on a heater that is now resting on a box. Oh my God. That was
The
weird.
hand of the spirit realm reached
My
out
God.
across the centuries.
Me and Rue are changing our opinions.
If it wasn't so hot, the chill would go up my spine.
Yeah, I know, because before then I never believed in curtain rails.
Right, so let me take you back then to Polstead in Suffolk in the
Polstead?
19th century.
Never heard of that. Is that the older tale?
Yes.
Okay.
There was a murder in 1827.
Yes.
It's become known as the Red Barn Mystery, where a young woman named Mariah Martin was shot dead by a young man named William Corder
Oh, yeah.
in a red barn.
Oh, yeah. That was easily labelled.
It was read beforehand, not as a result.
Yeah, it was red on the outside
Yeah.
until he shot her, then it was red on the inside.
Right.
Oh, yeah, so why did he do that?
Oh,
and
well.
she was a ghost and she said it was him.
The end.
soul.
So our next case is... Well, this young Mariah Martin, so she was 24 when she formed this relationship with William Corder.
Oh, they were in a
22.
relationship. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Now, she was a pretty girl. She had 2 kids already, and it looked like she was going to have another one by William Corder,
Sure.
who was known as a ladies' man.
Oh, right.
He was a gadabout. They named Foxy because of his sly ways.
What do you mean? That was his nickname?
They called him that when he was at school or something, wasn't it? Because he
Yeah.
was always stealing and always lying.
Oh, right. Oh,
So
sorry.
rather
Okay.
fondly, they called him Foxy.
Okay.
He was, he was known.
Let's gloss over the fact that he's a common thief and call him a jovial nickname.
Well, he was kind of known as being a little bit of a... Yeah, he had a reputation. There was one occasion when he was supposedly stole or helped to steal a pig.
Oh, yeah.
His father's pigs. Wasn't it?
He stole his own dad's pigs.
He stole his
Yeah.
papa's pigs.
What would he do with them?
When he was...
Got a pig, everyone?
sell it or eat it. You know, the usual thing you would do with a
I
pig.
don't know. Tame it?
Unless you're David.
Don't ask the
David-
Tories what you do.
I was going to say, I was about to make a David Cameron joke, but I'll move on from that. So, young Corder decided that he and his young mistress, Mariah Martin, would elope to Ipswich, there to be married.
By all accounts that I've heard and seen, it's Mariah rather than Maria. I read it as Maria first.
Well, you would have to have heard someone say it.
I did, yeah.
What do you mean you did?
What, in
Who?
1827?
No.
So what do you...
Who said it?
Well, like all the historical
Who said
accounts
it?
that I saw, like even including one on BBC, said Mariah.
Oh, okay.
They're saying it wrong.
Mariah... What was it?
Martin.
Mariah Martin.
That wouldn't be Mariah. That's insane.
Don't know.
Why would it be Mariah?
Yeah.
Maria? Mariah.
Yeah.
How's it spelled?
Spelt Maria.
Don't know.
There's only one Mariah in the entire world, and that has an H on the end of it.
Not always.
No, there's only one. Mariah. It's Maria.
Nobody cares.
Exactly. I'm not going to dignify that, give that any more dignity than you've afforded it yourself.
Hooray!
I'm cheering myself.
I know my name. Get on with it.
Anyway, Maria, as I will persist in calling her, the two of them were going to elope.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he lied to her about why they were eloping. He told her that...
Why are they eloping?
Well, the reason they're eloping...
Can't they just get married?
So, he lied to her because he said that she was... the parish was going to prosecute her for having these other children. Who were
which is illegal.
Do you mean out of
wedlock?
Wedlock.
Yeah.
That's illegal, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well.
It was then.
Yeah. Well, not that everyone gave a damn.
Oh, okay.
But basically he said, look, we need to run away.
Just get out of here.
He said, meet me at the Red Barn.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll meet you there, and then we'll elope to Ipswich.
Right.
10 miles away.
Yeah. We'll flee to the farthest point of the village.
Of the land. Ipswich.
Yeah.
It'll be known as Ipswich. Right, okay. So she's all worried. Got to get out of here.
Gotta go.
I still don't understand why she feels the need to urgently get... Does it mean that they're getting married, aren't they? Or
That's his promise.
That's his promise.
So why does she...
and that
why
would
does she
legitimise-
bothered about... Oh, that would legitimise her.
Her children.
Right,
Her children would therefore
Right,
have
fine.
a stepfather. Therefore,
Right, okay.
you can't have a family without a man to be the head of the family. Do you see?
Really, though?
Don't worry your
okay.
pretty little head about it.
Leave this a matter to educated gentlemen.
So they met at the barn, which was red,
Yes.
before going to the switch.
Well, they arranged to meet at the barn,
Yep.
Yeah, it was a red barn. It was.
and that was
The last time everyone joined in. Seen again. Alive. And again. Oh dear, that's terrible.
So she disappeared. Now Corda reappeared,
Oh yeah.
claiming that Maria Martin was in Ipswich or somewhere nearby.
She's in Ipswich.
And, of course, as they often do, he wrote letters claiming
To her.
to her family
Obviously.
From her?
yeah, basically saying,
Oh, from her.
but no, better than that. Said, I'm writing them on behalf of her because she's hurt her hand.
Oh, yeah, of
They
course.
can't write.
He PP'd letters from her.
Yeah, basically. You're sincerely
she
your daughter.
dictated to him.
She dictated, apparently. Or that's what he claimed.
Yeah, sure. What did they say? Do you know that? I'm fine.
Dear Marie's parents.
Mr. and Mrs.
Mummy.
What was her name? Martin. Mr. and Mrs. Martin. Is that right?
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Martin, I am your daughter.
I couldn't be more fine. Just in case you're wondering.
Yes. Signed his wife.
Signed Marie.
Crossed out. Signed Guy. Cross.
Okay, so he tried to cover it up
So
with...
she disappeared.
The
and
classic
he's
letter,
claiming,
yeah.
oh, she's in
Style.
Ipswich and she's with a hurt hand. I'll write you some letters to the family. Everything will be fine. No way this could possibly unravel.
Yeah.
No one will ever suspect.
Then the whole event,
Unravelled.
it took a sinister turn.
Yeah.
So, Maria's stepmother claimed to have had dreams. And in these dreams,
Really?
I mean, straight away, it's a dream. So, you know,
She's been eating too many cruciferous vegetables late at night. That's the
she had
trouble.
the Welsh rarebit before bedtime. Too much cheese.
More of gravy than of grave.
She claims that Maria's ghost has come to her in a dream, stating that she'd been murdered and buried within
So hang
the
on,
red
she
barn.
wasn't dead at the time.
She was missing.
She was
no one
missing,
knew where
yes,
she was.
Of course, yeah. So she might have been dead at the time.
Well, the likelihood is they met at the Red Barn, whereupon he killed her.
Yeah.
Don't really know why he'd do that, but anyway, I'm sure we'll.
Because she's
Slew.
carrying a child and he's a womanizer.
Yeah.
Really? I wouldn't do
He wants
that.
to move on to the
Well,
next one.
Is that
I
what
would
you
hope
do?
not.
Is that what you meant to do?
Well, that's the standard procedure for a cad and a bounder.
That's right.
You just swipe left.
Yeah. With the knife.
Shotgun.
Well, perhaps if you're thinking of doing such a thing, you'll be taken to task by the ghost of the person that you
right.
want.
Yeah. Okay. So his stepmom had a dream and the dream told her what had happened.
The dream,
Yeah.
told her, she said, I had been murdered, or words to that effect.
Right.
And buried in the red barn, in the corner, beneath the hay, just
okay.
on the right. Or
Interesting.
words to that effect.
Yep.
Dig in the grain storage bins. She probably bellowed, I don't know.
It said. Yep.
So, she, Mother Martin, persuaded her husband to go to the barn,
And
dig
look
in
in
the
that
allotted
exact
place,
bit.
and there went he on the 19th of April 1828
Yep.
and found the remains of
Oh,
Maria
God.
Martin buried in a sack,
Wow.
just as the ghost had predicted. In a
Sorry
dream.
to be a stickler for details. But so far, there's been no mention of ghosts. This is a dream that she had.
Yeah, that's true.
Dreams are
Yeah,
not
yeah.
ghosts.
It was a
that is
ghost in
true.
a dream.
That's still a dream.
A dream of
The
a
moment
ghost.
the realm of
It's a
dreams
ghost
comes up,
dream.
I could dream of a dragon. That doesn't mean I saw a dragon. It just means
I know,
I
it's a
dreamt of
dream.
a dragon.
Don't look at me.
No
I don't
ghost. No ghost so far has entered this story.
Of what use is a dream, if not a blueprint for courageous action?
Well, in her head, there was a ghost. But you're right. No
That's
one
Halloween
saw.
ruined.
No one saw a ghost.
No ghosts.
So is that it? That's the ghost.
Well, they found the body.
But they
On the
found the
basis
body,
of
which is
this.
quite interesting, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if I've done a similar thing.
Killing or a dreaming?
Sure, I've done a kind of I've dreamt of something
And it came
and
true.
there's my wallet, and I'm talking about that kind of thing.
But that's more of a remembering where you left your wallet.
While I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. Not as good an anecdote, is it?
Either she made up the dream entirely to suit a
Sure,
as
yeah.
a story of discovery.
I knew what was going to happen, or something, or saw what
It was an
gonna
extraordinarily lucky guess.
Yeah. Or it was a cold reading that came sort of more concrete through a dream.
happen. Sure.
I mean, she must have known already.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah,
She
yeah,
knew already somehow.
yeah, of course, yeah. Or she had
Oh, it's a mother's intuition.
or she had a horrendous inkling that he was horrible and might have
Yeah.
done something like that. But yeah, you're right. She dreamt something about something that she knew already.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I mean, she may not even have realised it consciously.
Then how did they know where to look?
stop talking in ghost narrator.
How did they know where to look?
The horror.
I wonder. I'll
Um,
change to Peter Lorre in a bit. We'll see.
me.
Help me. Help me.
The Falcon. Yeah, well, I mean, she knew, basically, didn't she?
Yeah, she probably knew. Anyway,
Sorry to ruin the
maybe she was there.
anecdote.
Probably in the barn, smelt a body.
Smelt a body.
What, you're like
I
steel?
smell a body, and it's from Ipswich. Yeah. She,
Rotting corpse is a fairly distinctive smell.
have you smelt one?
Yeah.
Have you?
You have?
Yeah.
No, I didn't smell it. No, did I?
not?
I just looked at
Licked
it and
it.
screamed.
Tasted it.
Have you smelt a rotting corpse?
Yeah.
Where?
I've smelt preserved corpses, but not rotting.
Next door neighbour.
Oh, right.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you recall what it smelled like?
Gamey. Bit gamey.
Gamey? Really?
Musty.
Musty. Yeah.
Imagine it smells
Congealed.
like bacon left in
I mean,
the
it
bin.
wasn't decomposed. I mean,
Oh,
it hadn't been dead for long. He was dead.
Right.
I mean, it was in...
But he definitely smelled.
What time of year was it?
time of year? I don't remember.
What was the month?
Yeah, was it cold or was it summer?
I don't recall.
Imagine if it was a month
if it
ago.
was-
100 degrees.
Weirdly, it wasn't a memorable event. I don't recall.
That is quite weird that it wasn't memorable.
Not the first body I've seen. Anyway, so there you go. Ghosts.
Ghosts, eh? Have you seen one? Oh, sorry,
Oh, ghost.
smelt one.
Have you smelt a ghost?
Have you smelt a body?
Well, I've only
I don't
when
mean
I,
us.
like visited like family members.
Oh, okay, I don't
on
really
the
mean
death,
that.
when they're dead. No.
I don't really mean
yeah,
that.
well,
I
yeah.
don't. Do they? They don't smell, though,
No,
do
it's
they?
not
They
very
get
sweet.
perfumed and
Yeah, it smelled quite sweet.
I don't know,
remember my
shoved full of
grandfather
polos
smelled-
or something.
Of words.
Yeah. And lavender.
Yeah, smelled like butterscotch and lavender.
So they found the body exactly where she claimed she dreamt to look for the body.
Yes.
Right. If I was the police, I'd put her under suspicion.
Yeah.
Quite
Do you think
right.
they'd be gullible and...
I mean, how would modern policing...
Yeah, they'd be
Take
like...
that case.
You'd be like, come off it.
Yeah.
you know.
Come off it.
Oh, dream. Oh, okay. I'll just...
Yeah.
You know,
Well, in
they'd
fairness,
instantly be under investigation or monitored.
I would say now that would be the case.
Yeah,
But I think
I
at the
agree.
time they say, Ghost told me. They'd
Yeah,
go,
no, I agree.
Yeah,
They'd be
fair enough.
gullible enough to go, oh, really? Oh, okay. I'll make a note of that.
Ghost said.
Gary Ghost.
Gary
said-
the
I don't know
Ghost.
if in early 19th century whether you'd take a ghost. I don't mean literally take a ghost to court. I don't know if you would use ghost talk as evidence
Ghost
in
talk.
court.
I don't know. I mean,
I think it would work on the streets. I'm not sure it would work in a
they
court.
say that. Yeah.
The word on the street is Ghost told her. It's got to be true then, isn't it?
Well, anyway, we don't know the end of the story, do we? It might have all been.
Well, I'll
brilliantly
tell you.
foiled.
They dug up her partially decomposed body.
Yep.
No report on the smell.
Right. Yep.
And thereupon discovered a green handkerchief belonging to one William Corder wrapped around her neck.
Okay.
That's clumsy
Yeah.
or arrogant. Well,
Or left there by one suspicious stepmother.
Yeah.
hadn't thought of that.
That's true.
She might have planted the whole thing. She might have done it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
A constable from Halstead managed to find Corder's address and tracked him to a boarding house for ladies in Brentford,
Really?
where he was a house that he was running with his new wife.
Well, that was quick.
Are there any ladies here? No.
He had moved to Brentford. He had put a Lonely Hearts advert in the Times, received over 100 responses,
Gosh.
and married one.
Really?
Yes.
God, I didn't take Brentford and what was the paper called? Brentford and
Isleworth Chronicle
Times.
or something. No, this is the Times.
Richmond Twickenham Times. Brentford and something
It would
Times.
be Brentford and Isleworth,
I
wouldn't
think you're right. Was it that? The
Uh,
Brentford
no,
and
it was-
Isleworth Times.
The Times.
The main time. The Times.
The Times.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you got 100 replies. Wow.
Yeah.
Wonder what it said. I want to get married.
Wow. Well-appointed gentleman
Freshly murdered murderer.
seeks next victim.
Yeah. Was nylon invented by then?
No.
No,
Okay.
that's a
So it wasn't near.
20th century.
Yeah,
was
it
it?
is, yeah.
It wasn't near.
50s or 60s.
Brentford nylons.
Well, it was for that because it was famously currency during the war. So it must be 20s, 30s.
One of the first polymers.
I'm just trying to.
I'm imagining in my head a flapper girl might wear nylon.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 20.
I'm just trying to position where they lived in Brentford. Brentford nylons was.
Brentford nylons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't there. That was 100 years
Wasn't
before
it didn't exist. Yeah. Oh, sorry, it hadn't been invented.
that. Been invented. Oh, that's an aside that went nowhere. So, an officer named James Lee, who's a London police officer, Brentford being within the greater district of London, he went to the boarding house where Corder was staying
Yep.
and surprised him in the parlour. I don't really know what room of the house the parlour is.
Parlour's a sort of posh living room.
Is
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's where you would present guests.
Posh living room,
Present.
but not a
May
living
I
room.
present?
Not a lounge.
No, it's a parlour is a room that tends to be kept separate just for entertaining guests in. So you never go in the parlour.
So
ever,
that's why.
It's a
unless
spare
someone
room.
is visiting, and then it's got all the best furniture in it.
Yes.
And the fine china.
Yeah, and you would never sit in it
And the
like
good-
to
the
read
good
a
dogs.
newspaper on your own. You just someone comes to visit, you lead them to the parlour.
And you would play parlour games, wouldn't you? Hence
For
why.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment?
But it's not. It tends to be a sort of slightly posher.
So you
Room
surprised
in
him
the
in the parlour.
Surprised him in the parlour.
Sounds like a euphemism.
Oh, that surprised me in the parlour. One Thomas Hardy.
Not that one.
What?
Thomas Hardy, the author.
That one.
Oh, what is that one?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He wrote in the Dorset County Chronicle in parlour with 4 ladies at breakfast in dressing gown and had a watch before him by which he was minuting the boiling of some eggs. That's the account of his capture.
Right.
He was in parlour.
I think it was minuting.
With
Why is
4
Thomas
ladies.
Hardy
taking down
writing about
notes as
that?
to-
Well, what should he be writing about?
I don't know. Why is he bothering himself with that?
Because he's a writer. He's writing things.
Yeah, but he made up things, didn't he?
He wrote up a book, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
With all
you
their
know,
words and stuff.
he wasn't purely a bookman.
Was he not?
No, you
He
got
wrote
a job.
essays and articles.
Okay. This one will be called William of the D'Urbervilles.
Yeah, why not?
So he was just a general. I didn't know that.
He was a general, a journalist.
So he's boiling some eggs.
So whilst boiling some eggs for 4 ladies at breakfast,
Yep.
James Lee of the London Police
Metropolitan.
informed him of the charges, and William Corder claimed to not have any knowledge of either Maria Martin or her murder.
Yep.
They searched the house and found a pair of pistols
Ooh.
and a passport from the French ambassador.
God.
Right.
So
Don't
thinking
know
you
what that
maybe
connection is.
Having a passport. Then
is a big deal.
highly
Yeah.
unusual.
Oh, sorry.
Bearing in mind that they eloped 10 miles down the road.
Yeah. Typically, one doesn't need a passport to enter Ipswich.
Quite so.
Don't know.
So, William Corder was arrested and taken to Bury St Edmunds, where he was tried on the 7th of August.
He became Mariah's pariah.
Exactly. Now, they couldn't work out exactly how Maria had died
Oh dear.
because of the state of decomp.
Oh, okay.
We didn't quite have
she should have
forensic
had it.
pathology like we do now.
No.
Yeah, so they said that
She should have dreamt about it.
she might have been
earlier.
shot.
Well, surely you'd know that.
There was a hole in her.
Okay.
It might have been a gunshot wound. It might have been stabbed with a short sword,
You know the things that you pick up hay with?
a pitchfork.
You know the big... Yeah, is that what it's called?
Pitchfork, yeah. It's for
One of them?
pitching hay.
One of them?
So,
I'm thinking of farm things.
a scythe.
Oh, a scythe. Oh, God.
They did say that the
Even that word makes me shiver. Scythe.
Good Halloweeny word.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
she did have a handkerchief wrapped around her neck, so she could have been strangled.
And it was his, yes.
And they might have damaged the body digging her up with the spade. So they're not really sure.
Oh, okay.
Plus, there was some, as I said, some decomp. So they couldn't really work it out.
If you kill anybody deliberately, it's murder. No matter how you do it.
So just to make
So
sure.
the scarf is the only thing that connects it. And the fact
and
that
he
they
was
were going
known
out.
to be going out with her, yeah. And then he denied even knowing who she was,
Right,
which
okay,
was a
right,
clear and obvious lie.
Okay.
So basically, he was indicted on 9 charges, just to make sure that they got him on something.
I loved that because there was like, from what I read, there was individual charges for each singular stabbing wound. So there was a charge for the sword under the rib and a charge for the sword to the left of the heart.
Wow.
Yeah, he was charged with shooting over the pistol,
And then there was
even though they
combination
weren't
ones
sure,
as well.
and
Right.
with stabbing her with a dagger.
Yeah.
Even though, again... Oh, my
Hello?
God. There was a bang in
Something
there.
goes bump in the
I
afternoon.
know what that is. That's a dodgy hook.
No, it
thing
isn't.
fell down.
It's a...
a ghost.
There was another... That's the second noise of the podcast.
The ghost.
Has never happened
We've
before.
had a curtain
Well, that
rail.
probably got knocked down by the chair, and that's probably because
Don't explain it.
it's really hot, and the hook is a stick-on hook, and the hook keeps coming out.
You know what we're talking about, the old hot hook.
The old hot hook.
We've all experienced
It's a
the
sticky
hot
back
hook.
hook. It's hot, it's melted, it's fallen down. That's like the 5th time it's fallen down.
But that's two things in this recording. It's only happened since... It didn't happen before. We've been here for ages.
Many times before.
No, I mean,
Suddenly
while
gets
we're
very
here.
cold in this room. Not only will I be grateful, but I'll be frightened.
Yeah.
If the fan mysteriously
That'll
comes
be
on.
the air conditioning turned back on.
Anyway, and one of the charges was forgery, just to cover all bases. I charge you with
Forgery
forging a
of-
body.
What did he
Forgery of what?
A check, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
From ages before.
Great.
He probably did that as well, just as he probably killed her
From ages
in probably
before.
one of these many ways. We'll die with all of them, just in case one of them's right.
Okay.
There was also the charge of covering her in soil
Yeah.
in the ground.
How dare
That's
you
very
bury
tempting,
your body?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, suffocation by means of being buried alive.
And probably dead already.
Probably dead already.
Unless
from
the
one of the
mother
many.
did it.
Unless the
and
mother did
framed
it.
him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could easily have...
How did she know?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
So then,
No, I don't understand.
Mother
What's going
Martin was called to give evidence about the events from the matter of her dreams.
Oh, God. Right, yeah,
To testify on behalf of the ghost of her stepdaughter.
Should be where the entire
Falls
case
apart.
collapses
Yeah,
because a
basically,
woman
yeah.
comes out and says, "Oh, I saw a ghost.
Yeah,
she
sure,
told me."
Yeah. What, madam?
It's where she
yourself.
should have been put into a mental asylum.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
They took that as evidence, did they?
They took her the recollection of her dreams as evidence. They also had the evidence of Corder's arrest. The police officer Lee said about finding the pistols, and they basically said, he killed her because of the baby and knowledge of his crimes and etc. etc. Now Corder then said finally he admitted being in the barn. He said he left. They argued, he left, and then while he was walking away, he heard a pistol. He ran back and she was dead.
Yeah.
However, his account was not believed, and the jury gave him a guilty verdict after 35 minutes.
You can't change the facts by talking.
Blimey.
They took their time, eh?
Jesus.
That's like a quick glance around the table. Do you reckon? Yeah, I reckon, yeah. I think
would
probably by the time you get up to file out into the private room, you've probably made your mind up
your
by
mind.
then.
Yeah.
But some of them would take days, so meaning that's not always the case that you know what you're going to do. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not always
They
the
just
case.
want to stay in a hotel for a few
Expenses.
days off work. So, Baron Alexander, presiding, stated that you shall be taken back to the prison whence you came, and be taken from thence on Monday next to a place of execution. That you shall be there
immediately.
hanged by the neck until you are dead, and that your body shall afterwards be dissected and anatomized.
Well,
At least it wasn't atomised.
Well, the policy of the day, as we will know from Burke and Hare episode,
It's a short drop, isn't it?
it's a short drop,
Yeah.
is that
you get reused.
criminals are allowed to be taken for dissection and anatomization by the scientific community.
Sure.
Now, science is sometimes frighteningly impersonal.
Quite a good policy.
It's not a bad policy.
I mean, I don't know about just criminals, but the idea of it, in the same way that everyone should be of normal death, whatever that means, it should be donored, regardless. But it's not the worst.
No, I think within the context of the time, it's not a terrible notion.
No.
So he spent 3 days in prison, William Corder,
Oh yeah.
and after his wife visited him, his wife from Brentford visited him, he finally confessed
Your wife.
and said, yep, he did it. He said he shot her accidentally, but that he did shoot her.
Oh, okay.
Woe is me. My criminal career is now extinct.
So on 11th of August 1828, he was taken to the gallows. He apparently couldn't stand up on his own. He had to be held up to the rope
Why is that?
because of his fear and anxiety about his impending death.
How would you feel
Too
about
weak
that?
to stand.
I suppose you're right.
Apparently, because of differing accounts, there were between 7,000 and 20,000 spectators. It is
Bloody hell.
See, even if it's
Between
7,000.
And
7,000
20,000.
and
Oh,
20, not 7 people. Between 7,000 and 20,000.
Wow.
I mean, even just 7,000.
They got something better
is
to
a
do.
lot of people. But that was what? That was the Gladiator special of the week.
Yeah, it was the news,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was entertainment. That was
Hang.
a football match.
Hang.
It was
Hang. They all chanted, probably.
Yeah. Hang him.
maybe
Oi.
vendors selling dromedary earlobes and
Yeah, definitely.
Just so. So they took down his body
Green
after an hour.
scarves.
yeah.
Get
Get your green scarves. Get your green scarves. So they took down the body after an hour, as is the custom,
Hour?
Yeah.
to make sure that
Well,
they
it's short drop, so you don't
He might be
break your
strangled.
neck. You just choke to death
Oh,
hanging at
God.
the end of a short rope.
So it's not Pierpoint style.
No.
It's not Pierpoint style.
In the sense of
It's pre-point.
It is done and removed.
Yeah, it's not a clunk snap.
Yeah. It's just
It's,
drop. It's about 2 foot.
Yeah, so you swing. You literally swing.
So if you're lucky, you've got a member of family or a friend who'll come and hang on your legs
snap. Yeah.
But they won't be that.
To choke you fast.
Oh, sorry. To hold you up.
Yeah.
To add them. To hold you up.
To stand on your shoulders.
To make you live forever.
It's fine, I've got you.
He was struck down from the gallows after an hour, taken to a courtroom, slit down the abdomen, and his body opened up, and then the crowd were allowed to file past and view the body. No TV.
Yeah.
5,000 people queued to see the body.
There it is.
And then
there's his heart.
The next day, dissected, and it's been argued that they performed galvanism upon him, which is this was a thing that was in its.
Isn't that what we did at school with a frog?
Yes, basically, yeah. It's the application of electrical energy to the muscles. So the thing make the frog's legs jump. There's the story that the year without a summer. I forget what the year it is. I should look that up and put that in here.
It was 1816, which is over 2 years ago.
This is the year that Byron was having summering in Geneva, and he was visited by Percy Shelley and Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin. Godwin,
who got married,
and a couple of other people, including
Doctor.
What's his name?
His most indecisive sentence.
I'm trying to remember. I'm just coming up with it. I haven't got this written down. It's his
Snuggles.
His Byron's personal physician.
Yeah.
Pagliari.
That sounds about right.
Let's say Pagliari.
Fine.
So it's called the year without summer because there was like a volcanic eruption or whatever, and there was clouds. Anyway, they went to there. They all got doped up on laudanum and had sex with each other, and then,
as you do,
as they did at the time, poets say. What can you do?
Okay.
So anyway, while they were there, that was the night in which they had the famous competition to write a ghost story.
Yep.
And because Byron and Shelley were talking about the new science of galvanism, they were overheard by Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin.
Yes.
And she went away to write her ghost story, and she came up with Frankenstein.
Right, yeah, of course.
Based on the theory of galvanism that she overheard.
Yeah.
And Pagliari, he wrote Dracula, I think. Oh no, The Vampire. He wrote The Vampire. Yeah. Polidori, thank you. I was thinking Salieri, and I said Pagliari.
Close enough.
That's the one thing I know about galvanism. See, frog's legs, Frankenstein.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
It's pretty good. I know the story, The Year Without Summer. Look that up.
So his anatomization potentially led directly to us at school chopping up a frog.
Let's say yes.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. It's quite good, isn't it?
Sometimes it's just nice to be involved, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you kind of killed him.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say yes.
Of course, a lot of people still do that today with their own bodies. I've just realised. No, you buy those exercise sticky pads.
What you mean when you stick
that's exactly the same thing.
Like putting a 9-volt battery on your tongue.
The pads on your abdomen.
Put pads on your thighs and your abdomen. And
that's to lose weight, though, isn't it? Or to tone it.
It's to stimulate the muscles. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's exercise for lazy bastards.
Yeah. Without doing anything.
Quite right.
Is that really the same thing?
Yeah.
And it goes...
Yeah.
Right.
It just puts current through the skin, which then activates the muscle and clenches it. And just do a sit-up.
Go for one sit-up.
Yeah. Go for a walk.
Just go for a walk. Start with a sit-up.
Yeah.
Similarly to William Burke, again, his skin was removed and tanned and made into a cover of book.
Yeah, that's bloody Nora. That is ridiculous.
That's proper
one book.
Line, that is.
One book.
A book. The book in this case being an account of the murder that he committed.
Bloody Nora.
It's
just ridiculous,
isn't it? I think.
They're not heard of leather.
Pieces of the rope were sold for £1 a piece.
Little bits of it that hung him.
Yep. Part of his scalp with an ear attached were on displayed in a shop window on Oxford Street. Barn was broken up and sold as toothpicks for souvenirs.
Bloody hell, that's a lot of toothpicks, isn't it?
That is a lot of toothpicks.
I reckon there's probably enough of that £1 a piece rope to reach from here to the moon.
Yeah.
There is a folk song called Maria Martin, or The Murder of Maria Martin, I don't know the tune. I know the tune, but I don't.
It's possible.
Well, that's a bit more Tudor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very Blackadder.
Yeah.
It's possible. That is the one that I was listening to this afternoon, that was released by Shirley Collins in 1971.
I'll put that.
Bloody
You
great.
can hear the hurdy-gurdy.
Oh, God, it's good, isn't it? You can just smell the smoke.
So that's a traditional song, and they just put words to it. If you'll meet me at the Red Barn, as sure as I have life, I will take you to Ipswich town, and there make you my wife. This lad went home and fetched his gun, his pickaxe and his spade. He went unto the Red Barn, and there he dug her grave. With her heart so light she thought no harm, to meet her love did go. He murdered her all in the barn, and laid her body low.
That's a song as opposed to a poem.
Well, I mean, without music,
both,
it's
really,
a poem.
Yeah.
With music, it's a song.
It's probably better as a poem, isn't it?
I like it.
Yeah.
They just changed the
that
lyrics.
poem thing that you
Those
read
words
out.
I read out, those are the words that were put to the tune. The tune pre-existed from
the
another
tune
poem.
Yeah, that's quite normal.
So how old are the words?
1828.
Oh, sorry. Right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Those are from like 1628.
Right. Nice.
I have one other quite interesting tidbit.
We'll be the judge of that.
So inside the book that is covered
made of
with the
skin.
tanned skin
Yep.
of William Corder,
Lovely.
there is a
smelly book.
inside the cover was written an account of an event that took place on the day of the execution.
So written on his skin,
Written on his skin.
tattooed. Was it there already?
Before they hung him.
What? It's written on his inside.
We're just going to
while he was alive.
tattoo your arm with some words. Really? Why do you do that? Well, it's the inside front.
Why is it backwards? So they can read it when we turn you inside out.
Ah, perfect.
Okay, then fine.
So inside the book, written inside the cover, there's an account that someone had added after. Obviously, the book was made. They'd added it in. Basically, because on the day of the execution, there was a play. There was a performance of Macbeth, and in Macbeth there is a line that says, "Is execution done on Cawdor?" Different name.
Yeah.
Sounds. And apparently, someone from the gallery shouted out, "Yes, he was hung this morning at Bury,"
Oh, right.
referring to William Cawdor.
Yeah.
And someone wrote an account of this wit in the book that bears his skin. And his ghosts wanders forever.
Where was he hung? Sorry. Well,
Bury St Edmunds.
Oh, was he? Oh, sorry. Right. Okay. Quite good, that, isn't it?
It's all right.
There's the musical that came out.
Yeah. Yes, there is a musical.
There's a stage musical, and there was a movie. I watched. I watched the 1936
God.
Mariah Martin Murder in the Red Barn, starring Todd Slaughter. He plays Squire William Corder.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, it's apart from that, there are a couple of people in it with the correct names. The whole story is a complete fabrication.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because the story of the ghost is
total
is reality.
Yeah.
It's pure fact. Yes, there have been 5 movies since 1935, radio plays, etc., etc. There's a BBC drama in 1980 starring Pippa Gard as Maria Martin,
Right.
who you'll know from absolutely nothing.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say something good then.
Because she was never seen again.
Yeah.
Well, we could arguably end it there, or we could fast forward to 1897.
Is this the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Flash forward then to 1897, and we move now to West Virginia in the United States.
Have you been there?
I have not,
West Virginia.
I've been to Virginia.
Mountain Mama.
technically.
that
Well,
the
I've been
words?
to
I've been to
the
Virginia.
cemetery
Yeah. That's in Virginia.
in Virginia. Yeah,
Well, it's
Arlington.
west, it's
National Cemetery.
Virginia. It's just a bit west of there.
It's a
Isn't
bit west of there. Yeah.
Anyway.
Greenbriar County and the ghost of Elverzona Hester Shue.
That's a stupid name.
Shoe.
That's not the only weird name we'll be hearing.
Not nearly. Not nearly.
Elver Shoe.
Elverzona Hester Shue. I feel like there should be a whoops or something at the end of that.
Have a banana.
Elvazona Hester shoe. Whoops. Have a banana. There you go.
It's good. That's a good name.
She will be found dead.
Oh.
Judged dead by natural causes. However, it was then decided, upon the testimony of her ghost, that she was murdered.
Are you a ghost?
Testimony.
Well,
testimony.
Testimony is a
testimony
strong word.
Of forth in court.
Testimony of her ghost.
Yes. Her mother, Mary Jane Hester, claimed that Zona's ghost appeared at her bedside.
You were dead!
Insisting that her husband...
Whose husband?
Her husband, the ghost's husband.
The ghost's husband, yes.
One Erasmus Stribbling Trout Shoe.
That's a stupid name.
Yes.
Had murdered her.
Say that again. Erasmus Stribbling Trout's shoe.
Yes. What's wrong with that?
So has he got a double-barrelled trout shoe?
He murdered her because she couldn't stop laughing when he introduced himself.
Has he got a double-barrelled name, Trout Shoe?
No, they're not double-barrelled.
Okay, Shoe. So Shoe is
his name is Shoe.
Is the most normal
Shoe.
bit of his name.
No relation.
Stribbling.
So Elvazona Hester married a blacksmith, his name being Erasmus Stribbling Trout Shoe, and took his surname because Elvazona Hester needed another surname.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She needed a shoe. January 23rd, 1897, she was found dead at her home, her death listed as childbirth.
Okay.
Thereupon she was buried in the cemetery.
However, she wasn't pregnant.
What? Was she poisoned? Was it laced? The shoe.
She died from having a baby.
Was the shoe? Was the shoe laced? Oh
dear.
So hang on. She died from childbirth,
despite the lack of pregnancy.
Is that true?
Yes.
That's what they'll say about me.
Having been informed by her daughter's ghost that she had been murdered.
Yes.
She marched to the prosecutor, and after several hours, managed to convince him to reopen the case.
So this is after... How long after did she do the dream?
Yeah, I'm not saying that he believed the story of the ghost.
Sure,
I'm saying that he wanted her to go away.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say. After several hours,
all right.
Oh, for goodness! Yeah, all right. We'll look at it again.
Dig her up. Whatever.
So she was fully dead and buried.
She was dead and buried.
Yeah.
Yes. So they dug her up. They exhumed the body.
Yep.
And during a 3-hour autopsy, suddenly realised, she's got a smashed windpipe and a broken neck.
George, it looked all right to me. You didn't notice anything unusual? No.
What was the...
What's that got to do with childbirth? He's trying to regurgitate.
How long had she been buried for?
It would have been within the month.
Long enough to be a worm hotel.
Yeah, well, you can still see the finger marks where she had clearly been strangled to death.
What, upon the exhumed...
When they exhumed the body, they found the finger marks on the crushed windpipe of the corpse.
Wow.
So one would argue that it wouldn't have taken an incredible amount of quick once-over before they buried her to go, hang on a minute. Childbirth, I say, in this non-pregnant woman with the crushed windpipe with finger marks around her neck.
Yeah.
I mean, the bloody coroner should have been on trial.
So yet again, something coming to someone in a dream changed the direction of the case. Now, my first thing that I would have said was, hang on, and then, put her under questioning, basically. Was she suggesting that she didn't die in childbirth, she was strangled, or was she just saying there's something up with...
Oh no, she said the ghost appeared to her and said that she'd been murdered.
But they didn't say how.
Met an unearthly end.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if the ghost's proclamation was very specific, then I'd be like,
I don't have record of the exact testimony of the ghost that didn't exist.
The windpipe is crushed.
I am crushed about the neck.
I'd be like, oh, God's sake, right, okay. So arrest her for starters.
Erasmus Stribbling Trout Shoe was arrested and charged with murder.
Right, yeah, okay.
Of course, once in custody, it turns out, well, he had been married twice before, both of whom had accused him of cruelty. One had left him and the other one had died in mysterious circumstances.
Well, the other one had died.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Something fishy going on.
And he had stated that he wished to marry 7 women.
Oh.
So this
To be fair.
this one would only have
Same
been his 3rd. So,
Oh, God.
and he talked about that while awaiting trial.
Right, okay.
You probably don't think I'm a very nice guy, do you?
Now, the interesting thing is that the prosecution tried to avoid asking Mary Jane, Hester, the mother, about the ghost. He just asked
Smart
her about
people.
Yeah. He said, let's not get on that. Let's get into the actually talking about what we know.
Sure.
And so, but then the defence lawyer, in an attempt to prove that she was an unreliable witness, brought up the ghost thing.
Quite rightly. Yeah.
And then, because...
Hoping that she's going to look a fool.
Hoping she'd look a fool.
Sure,
But
yeah,
because she stuck to her story
Yeah.
so vehemently, under questioning, basically, it backfired because everyone seemed to believe the ghost story.
Right.
So he couldn't say, all right, because the defence had brought it up, it had to be included as evidence.
Yeah.
So he
It
was...
confirms what I was saying earlier about it's not suitable in a court, but it works really well in like public life.
Sure, yeah.
You talk about ghosts with each other, but
Yeah, exactly.
people believe it, but courts don't.
No. Well, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't, yeah. But, in 1897, they believed it. He was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison.
Bloody hell. Well, hang on. Why wasn't he
Hanged.
Yeah.
Well,
Because in the eyes of the court, he murdered someone.
So this is only, 60 years later? Oh, it's 60 years later and on another continent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So it was not, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There was a lynch mob that tried to break him out of prison and hang him, but
The sheriff broke it up.
the sheriff broke it up. He died in 1900 of an unknown epidemic.
Key.
Sweeping West
Just
Virginia.
that swept him.
swept
across his cell.
Swept across a man.
The one-man epidemic.
There was an epidemic
Is that
in
an epidemic?
1900.
What's an epidemic? It's a
It's a localised
Demic.
infection.
What's is there a demic for one person?
Unidemic.
A unidemic.
Monodemic. Okay. So he died anyway. So the mob were happy.
There is a...
the mob probably did it.
The state of West Virginia put a historical marker where Mrs. Shue was buried.
Right.
And it states upon it this: interred in nearby cemetery is Zona Hester Shue. Her death in 1897 was presumed natural until her spirit appeared to her mother to describe how she was killed by her husband. Autopsy on the exhumed body verified the apparition's account. Edward, found guilty of murder, was sentenced to state prison. Only known case in which testimony from a ghost helped convict a murderer.
Right. Well, I mean, that is
Rubbish.
Rubbish on every level.
I mean, technically, that is a record of what happened. But...
Oh, it's a record of a perception.
Yeah.
So what? Right, here we go.
Okay.
What really happened? Was the
I assume
the mother
killed?
Was the
As
mother
in both
involved?
cases.
I mean, I would say yes.
Do you think?
Well, I mean, how else?
It's always the mother.
How else would? I mean, unless she was being
Mothers do anything to protect their sons.
Unless she was being fed information by her husband or something, in the sense of, I don't know, pillow chat, and then she falls asleep, meaning information that is duff information, and then she dreams about something. But what ultimately do we think occurred? Because it wasn't that, basically, was it?
I think what happened was a hysterical parent in both cases thought, this can't be what happened. There has to be more to the story. I'm going to badger and badger until someone does something, and then they accidentally found out the truth. That's what I think.
By pure accident. They said, exhume. Oh, hang on.
And then, look, here's the thing.
She wasn't pregnant at all.
Yeah. I think someone,
Oh, really?
in this case, the coroner, whomever it was, who should have been on trial for incompetence, basically didn't notice a crushed windpipe. Just said, oh, she probably died.
I read some accounts where the coroner was pressured really hard not to do much of an investigation at all. And when he tried, well, there was kind of wailing and screaming from...
Wailing and gnashing
from him. And so he just didn't bother. It's like, what's the point? You know, there's too many people screaming about this, so I'll just stop.
Well,
so then they just buried her saying, oh, childbirth, whatever.
I mean, she could have, the mum could have been like, no, she wasn't pregnant. Like, she never told me, kind of that kind of angle. But,
yeah.
And then, as you say, pressured, badgered.
Yeah, it's a hysterical parent badgering
but
for results.
Out of total, not luck, but, coincidence, they went, oh, hang on. Yeah, you're right.
Actually, something now that we've dug them up, dug them up in the barn, dug them up in the...
Let's actually do a autopsy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a series of events.
Or he may have confided to his mum.
Or ghosts.
Yep. And that's the other option.
People do
or ghosts
quite often want to get rid of the burden of a secret like that.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is the mothers did it.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I wasn't thinking that the mother did the murder.
Well, they had to be there to know the details, or ghosts.
Have them related to them.
By ghosts.
Yeah, that's what I mean, related to them.
Yeah.
By the
I mean, he had boasted of wanting to get through wives, which didn't help his cause.
No,
obviously.
he had history of violence and probably murder.
So that was easy peasy in that sense to pin it on him. Oh, it's just all a bit strange, but...
There have been a number of plays, books, lyrics, etc. written about it. The most recent that I have a record of...
Has there been a prog rock song?
There was a full-length musical...
Was there?
Which debuted in 2018.
Was there? What was it called?
It's called Greenbriar 1897. And it was mentioned on Comedy Central's Drunk History.
Was it?
Which is an excellent programme.
Oh, right.
So there you go. See? Ghosts. That's all for this time. If you want to know more about what we've talked about on this episode, then just Google it or something. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on our website. That's www.truecrimediary.co.uk. Please remember to leave a review on your podcast provider if you can, or you can email us. That's stuff@truecrimediary.co.uk. My thanks to Jed and Rue and to all of you for listening, and we'll see you again on next date in our True Crime Diary.